Good afternoon, everybody. This is Jeff J. Brown, China Rising Radio, Sinoland in Chiang Mai, Thailand. Great informative article and podcast for you today. It is entitled, Hong Kong Ensnared in the West Color Revolution Hotbox, the latest news and analysis. I have a file on Hong Kong, abbreviated HK, as thick as my hand, and several concerned people have emailed me asking me to write something. So here is an update. I wrote about the long, sordid history of colonial and post-colonial Hong Kong at great length in the China Trilogy. See below. It makes for fascinating reading, from Britain's and the U.S.'s global illegal drug and money laundering capital to a nominal Chinese city, which in reality is still a British colony in all but name. I have written many HK articles available on China Rising Radio Sinoland, including being guest on TV and radio. I didn't realize how much work I've published on it until I put this list together. They are all still very valid and up to date with what's going on, since the West only has one monovision playbook of global capitalism, war, color revolutions, and chaos against its enemies. Instead of repeating myself, here they are for your perusal. If you see the word Hong Kong in the title, that means it's the main focus. Otherwise, it is part of the comparison and contrast discussion. In addition to this rich catalog on Hong Kong, I would like to shout out Wei-Ling Chua for being the best journalist on planet Earth in reporting on this subject. He is not posting his ongoing HK updates on his website, which is www.outcastjournalist.com, but is sending out regular email blasts. If you'd like to be on his list, I'm sure he'd be glad to add you. Email him at wchua62@gmail.com with add, the word add, ADD, in the subject window. As an up-to-the-minute look at what is going on in Hong Kong, here are a few facts the big lie propaganda machine intentionally censors behind the Great Western Firewall. Number one, Hong Kong's GDP and other official data are not included in mainland China's statistics, so Baba Beijing doesn't really give a rat's ass whether the economy craters or not, which it is. Hong Kong has 7.44 million inhabitants, ranking it as a second-tier city on the mainland with Chengdu, Dongguan, and Wuhan. HK is falling into recession, down 3.2% in the third quarter of 2019 alone. In August, there were 850,000 fewer tourists than the year before. People are leaving in droves, students, business persons, and service workers. I have a good friend who is a doctor. He just shut down his clinic in Hong Kong and moved his practice to Beijing. Another friend teaching there contacted me about working in Shenzhen because Hong Kong has become such a Western color revolution disaster. There are thousands like them. Billions of dollars are being drained out of people's lives. The West Color Revolution chaos in Hong Kong this is number 2, by the way. The West Color Revolution chaos in Hong Kong is a wonderful poster child for Baba Beijing to show the world why Yaranglo-land's fake democracy is a disaster for humanity and planet Earth, while communist socialist China just keeps on trucking like a high-speed train into the 22nd century. If you are living behind the Great Western Firewall, you may not be noticing this contrast. But billions of citizens in Asia, Africa, Latin America, and Oceania are. Hong Kong's destruction is one of Baba Beijing's best public relation coups ever. Thank you, Donald Trump and Nancy Pelosi. And there's a picture, and this is the Byline. Wow, what a coincidence. Above, U.S. corporate managed opposition Nancy Pelosi with fake leftist U.S. Representative Jim McGovern, who are proud to support violent, ransacking rioters, while bottom, paid CIA stooges in Hong Kong are wearing the same t-shirt. The Mandarin says, "Reclaim Hong Kong, days of revolution." Yeah, go on. Number 3, the CIA and FBI have well-known offices in Hong Kong, including the American consulate. There are more than 1,000 U.S. government agents in the territory, and they are not there to just eat dim sum and enjoy a ride on the Star Ferry, as enjoyable as all that is. This does not include thousands of so-called NGOs, many that are CIA-FBI-NED-MI6-Soros-Omidyar, one of Soros's fake leftist billionaires. Color Revolution chop shops. Baba Beijing doesn't mind, as they are vacuuming petaflops of signal and human intelligence on all their sabotage and chaos, providing valuable planning and vaccination to prevent another color revolution in China like 1989's Tiananmen demonstration. For every color revolution saboteur and spy, there's probably 1 to 2 mainland agents watching their every move, recording every second of signal communication. It's like an entomologist having a test tube full of maggot-filled dog shit to study up close. Priceless. Somebody call MasterCard to film a trendy new ad. Number 4. There are more than 800 Christian churches and another 800 Christian schools in Hong Kong. There is open evidence that many in both groups are working hand in hand with rioting saboteurs to provide cover and logistics, with the CIA gangsters providing the millions to pay for all of it. Many of these property-wrecking gangsters are members of these Christian outfits, all because of their hatred of communist socialist China. Number 5. Always remember that, yes, Hong Kong returned to the mainland under the 1997 Basic Law Treaty negotiated between Margaret Thatcher and Deng Xiaoping, but under the, quote, one country, two systems agreement until 2047. On the left is communist socialist China, getting richer, more advanced, and more powerful by the day. On the right is jungle capitalist neoliberal Hong Kong, owned lock, stock, and barrel by 10 multi-billionaire families who exploit it like a metropolitan Honduras. They are merely inconvenienced by the West Color Revolution, but will still be gazillionaires even if the territory implodes. This while Hong Kong has some of the most unaffordable housing in the world, with more and more of the ever poorer middle and lower classes being driven into homelessness, sardine-packed shoebox apartments, or wire cages to stay off the streets. Poverty has been increasing for years in Hong Kong and now accounts for 20% of the people and growing. 1/3 of these impoverished are elderly. It's the capitalist American dream. Tent cities can't be far behind in Hong Kong's still grossly underdeveloped and neglected new territories. This after 180 years of British exploitation. And this while communist socialist China will have eliminated extreme poverty in the entire country by the end of 2020. And then there's a picture. And here is the byline. A more and more common need in Hong Kong, people forced to live in wire cages since housing is unaffordable for the people. This while communist socialist China is building millions of low-income housing around the mainland. Number 6, or if you're Chinese, this means 6. Never forget that under its one country, two systems, Hong Kong is still a British hellhole for the 99%. The governor, Carrie Lam, and all her family are well-to-do UK citizens. Much of the high-level government administration is staffed by Brits. The Hong Kong court system is full of foreign judges. The vast majority of the banks are foreign-owned, without forgetting the territory's 10-family oligarchic owners. As you can imagine, most, if not all of them, have a visceral hatred of communism and socialism, and therefore China as well. Western media, this is number 7. And if you're in China, this is number 7. Western media and leaders are gloating over Hong Kong's district election results last week, where Beijing's supporting reps were swept out of power to be replaced by anti-China ones. This is standard Western democracy in action, where bad socioeconomic news results in the voters genuflecting to the opposition, no matter who they are. The district elections are like local neighborhood councils, not the real seats of power, which are in the territory-wide Legislative Council, also called the LegCo. Even if pro-Chinese LegCo reps are replaced by mainland-hating ones, I don't think Baba Beijing would really care. In fact, China may be hoping that does happen, so the onus of trying to fix Hong Kong's hopeless neoliberal nightmare is on the haters. Now, the CIA, FBI, NGO complex is going to have to decide whether or not to stop or slow down the billions of dollars of color revolution losses bleeding the people of Hong Kong. They could do this to demonstrate the, quote, superiority, end of quote, of Western-style elections. As I wrote in an article above, Euranglo Land has been fruitless in its Hong Kong sabotage going back to 2014. The West is hoping to get Baba Beijing to send People's Liberation Army, the PLA, troops to quell the violence and chaos in Hong Kong to gain another Tiananmen-esque big lie propaganda cudgel with which to demonize and club China for the next 30 years. And that's clearly not going to happen. With the lower tier elections and nothing else to show for a city they have destroyed, Euranglo-landers can declare victory and take a breather until they concoct round 3. And there's another picture, and the byline is a photo from the China trilogy. It says, "Oppose capitalism, occupy central." That's the real story in Hong Kong, global capitalism's colonial impoverishment of the 99%, which you will never see behind the Great Western Firewall. Number 8, or if you're in China, number 8. You can't say Baba Beijing doesn't have a sense of humor. A couple of weeks ago, this is really funny. A couple of weeks ago, after a particularly bloody and ransacking color revolution night, the PLA garrison in Hong Kong came out of their barracks all right. Not with guns, not even riot gear. No, they came out with trash bags and garbage cans to clear all the bricks, rocks, and rubbish the rioters had thrown onto nearby streets to keep citizens from going to work, while encouraging the people to stop the violence and chaos. Then they quietly returned to their garrison. Talk about a class act. Number 9. I got number 9. Or if you're in China, this is number 9. For all friends, fans, and followers of China Rising Radio Sinoland who are concerned that Euranglo Land has scored a great victory against Baba Beijing with the district election losses, do not to worry. It's understandable if you are thinking like Westerners. But China knows exactly what it is doing and what it refuses to fall for. I can promise you Baba Beijing knows by heart, line for line, the timeless Chinese classics, the 36 Stratagems of War, and the Art of War. Over the long run, Confucianism, Taoism, Buddhism, and Mao Zedong's geopolitical vision will win the Sino Day. It's thanks to Mao that China is not Ukraine or Bolivia. Letting the world watch in horror as jungle capitalist, neoliberal, imperial Hong Kong cannibalizes itself thanks to the continually failing Western color revolution being orchestrated there since 2014 will be a case study for Chinese universities, think tanks, and relevant government entities to discuss for decades to come. And in closing, number 10, or in China, just the fist, go Pelosi, go! Trump, Yoda, M-A-N, man! Cackle for us, Hillary! Pompeo, go ahead and create your own reality. Baba Beijing just loves the millennial weakness and folly of your racist hubris. You've been losing this game big time since 1949. This is Jeff Brown, China Rising Radio Sinoland, signing out. By the way, I've got 3 days left to try to raise, I think it's $25 more. Please make a donation so I can keep doing this. Thank you.